Hi everyone and welcome to Red Dog Gamer. If you're watching this video then chances are, like me, you're having a nightmare trying to take down Lu Bu. This boss fight is punishing with his lightning fast attacks and minimal attack windows given to the player. I'm going to try and give you some tips that I found helped me when I was able to defeat him. Some of that is in the form of general fight preparation and also in-fight tactics. If you find this video useful then please drop it a like and subscribe to my channel Red Dog Gamer. The first thing I recommend doing is upgrading your weapon of choice and armor as much as you can. This will require using the materials you have been collecting up to this point. It's good to know that you can fast travel back to the hidden camp and return to the battle flag just before the Lu Bu boss fight, so you don't need to worry about fighting through the old battlefield again. I also recommend using a weapon that is quick in action and also offers up good range. This is because the attack windows are minuscule and after dodging Lu Bu, shorter weapons won't reach him before he backs up and starts attacking again. I found the iron spetum to be particularly effective, but a decent spear would also make a good choice. Even with sound advice, chances are this boss will kick your ass until you get used to the timings of his attacks, which are unpredictable to say the least. When the fight starts, Lu Bu will be on horseback and he will transition between this phase and being on foot at various stages throughout the fight. Whilst on horseback, it's actually quite easy to avoid the majority of his attacks. He will shoot volleys of arrows at you which can be dodged if timed well, some slashing attacks that again are pretty telegraphed, and two special glowing red attacks. One of these is when he charges at you front on. Dodging this just requires quick reflexes, doing so just before he closes in. The other special attack in this phase sees Lu Bu and his horse leap into the air and crash down on the player. Again, this is fairly easy to dodge. After dodging both special attacks, I recommend getting a few attacks off to chip away at a small amount of his health pool. Just be wary when doing this, as he will sometimes perform a slashing attack that can connect if you get too greedy. When Lu Bu comes off his horse, the battle intensifies. The key thing here is not to get too bogged down dodging his attacks and try to maintain your own positive momentum. That means when dodging his attacks, try to get your own odd attack away, but you will only have time to get one or two tops before he transitions into another attack. This will help you to stagger him quicker, which allows you to deal more substantial damage. His special moves are quite difficult to time. The one where he leaps into the air needs to be dodged late in the transition to successfully deflect. When he glows red and charges forward, I found walking directly towards him and deflecting when literally face to face work well. His other special attacks, which are less frequent, are the spinning slashing attack, which I found to be the hardest to deflect but can be done by timing the deflect late in the transition. Later in the fight he also does a singular upward slice that you can back away from or attempt to deflect. Throughout the fight, Lu Bu will continue to fire volleys of arrows at you, so be prepared for this. Some of these will be standard and some will be imbued with fire. After deflecting 2 or 3 of Lu Bu's special attacks, you'll be able to get the riposte, and that's where you can go in and deal more significant damage. Whilst Lu Bu is grounded, it also offers a great opportunity to use any magic spells to buff your character in the form of absorb vitality or just boosting your defense attributes. You can also use wizardry spells to actually damage Lu Bu from range, such as casting fireballs. If you get caught in any of these spinning animations that you can see here, just try and deflect through what you can or back up completely to avoid taking any major damage. When Lu Bu calls for his horse, the same phase from the start of the fight will begin again. The main difference is that sometimes he will shoot 2 sets of arrows when he does his arrow attack. This will just require 2 deflections to avoid damage. It doesn't take too many counters before the fight takes back to the ground. Remember that when dodging special attacks in this phase to keep chipping away at Lu Bu. Here you can see the double arrow attack and the successful double deflection. As the fight progresses, Lu Bu becomes much more aggressive with many more slashing and spinning attacks that become increasingly hard to dodge. Just deflect what you can and back up to avoid as much damage as possible. Hopefully you'll still have some dragon cure pots in the latter stages of the fight. To get the win, you will definitely be relying on successfully deflecting a good number of his special attacks, and after a few ripostes the fight should be won. Although he becomes much more aggressive, the same logic applies to earlier in the fight, so when he does his special attacks, the key is to time it late when you do the deflect. If you can as well, try to save your Divine Beast until later in the fight when he becomes more aggressive. This will give you a little bit of respite. And also, if you need to, don't forget to keep applying buffs in the form of wizardry spells to boost your defense and to also absorb vitality for when you do get attacks away. One of the dangers later in the fight is that you try to go in too aggressively with your attacks, and this can actually leave you prone to being damaged yourself. Don't make the mistake that I did in the video that you can see here by going too gung-ho, and just try and stick with the original plan from earlier in the fight, just getting the odd attack away where possible and looking for that riposte to deal significant damage. Once you get to this point, it's all about hanging on in there till that final riposte comes, because you know that's going to signify the end of the fight. So keep looking for them special attacks and keep trying to time the deflections if you can, and then the fight should be over. I hope that you liked this video, and if you did, give it a thumbs up and be sure to subscribe to my channel Red Dog Gamer for more Wo Long Fallen Dynasty. Thanks for watching and see you next time.